Hey, it's Dane. So I've been reading a book that discusses something called myelin and its role in perfecting movements, perfecting, music composition or music performance, anything of being an elite person in a specific field. Myelin has a impact on myelin development. So what is myelin? It's this white matter that engulfs a nerve ending or the actual nerves running through your body to insulate the nervous system to fire faster. So over time, from the time you're a young child all the way up till you're 80 years old, it does, the myelin does develop a lot slower as you get older, but over time it insulates what it perceives as an important part of that individual's life and how to, better master that technical ability of what the person's practicing. So it could be, for a farmer, a young boy growing up on a farm who's got to constantly pick up things or like go catch the chickens or anything along that lines. They're constantly doing it from the time they're, 1 to 2 years old, all the way up till they're 20, and they develop the nervous system develops myelin insulation around the nerve endings to increase the efficiency of the body when it's dealing with those regularly practiced tasks. So that's how you could explain someone having farm strength. They're constantly doing something. And not only are they building muscle memory and muscle strength, but the reason they're doing it so efficiently, when you see a 14-year-old kid tossing a 60-pound hay bale like it's nothing, is because they've developed this myelin sheathing throughout their childhood. So how does this apply to throwing? This is specifically for throwing, because this also happens in anything. Myelin's not a prejudice. Biological structure. It could be for shot putting. It could be for playing the trombone. It could be for diving. Anything. Farming, like I said. So how does this deal with throwing? So the biggest thing is that you have to fire the neural circuits to get a myelin response. And by doing so, there's something that Daniel Coyle, he wrote this book, The Talent Code, talks about this deep practice. And so, let's use throwing as an example because this is throwing specific. We go out, we take a couple throws, loosen it up, and then the coach says, hey, I want you to think about getting the right down quicker. Get it down really tight out of the back. Put it down as fast as you can. So for the next 4 or 5 throws, your result's going to go down, but you're actively focusing upon the act of putting the right down faster to enter double support faster. So what happens is through this deep motivational practice, like deep focus, your body creates a myelin sheathing to protect that specific circuit and to work on that specific task. And the biggest thing here is that the more difficult the learning is, the more myelin you'll produce. So in the book, the guy talks about how Shaquille O'Neal should be taking free throw shots. When he played in the NBA, he sucked at free throws. He should have been practicing from 13 feet. I think the standard free throw, I hate basketball, but I think the standard free throw is 15 feet. He should have been practicing from 13 feet, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 12, anything. And by forcing your motor patterns to adapt and learn just a hair differently, there's more myelin production for those specific circuits, and therefore you get better at it. So the more difficult the learning task is, the better you'll get. So how does this relate to throwing? Again, let's go back to what I was saying about that deep practice. The way that we can apply this to throwing is, 1, focusing on the deep practice, and 2, using different implements. So by throwing a 10-kilo shot all the way down to a 5-kilo shot, or a 3-kilo discus all the way down to a 1-4 discus, you are training your body to learn the task in a difficult manner because it's a different feeling. If we constantly were just throwing a 16-pound shot, there would be less myelin production for that specific circuit, nervous system circuit. Now, again, the focus is the circuit must be fired. So if you're going through a drill, like a bodyweight drill, your neural response is going to be drastically lower than if you're throwing a 10-kilo shot, or if you're throwing a 16 or a 14. So the learning has to be very difficult, which is why you'll see guys who can go in the circle and they can spin all day, body weight. They look awesome. They look like elite shot putters, and then you put a shot in their neck and they can't do anything. And the myelin response is what is causing that person who can spin well body weight. They have less myelin production because they're not throwing enough various weights, various implements. So the weighted throws with the various weights creates that difficult learning, which increases the myelin production and then increases your neural efficiency. And one thing that I thought of while I'm reading this is, over a 3-year time frame while I was at Penn State, this is a very, very lenient estimate. I took 4,500 throws. Most summers I didn't train at all. I just lifted weights. I didn't do anything. I just trained. So let's say over 3 years, I took 4,500 throws, okay? And then I'd lift a lot of weights. We do plyometrics and we do med balls, but it was nothing was a special strength. There's no shot swing. There's no dumbbell throws. There's no shot put for height. There's no standing throws, no weighted, real heavy half turns, no side discus throws, nothing like that. It was just med balls, abs, plyometrics, and lifts. So over a 3-year period, I took 4,500 throws, and that was it, okay? So, and most of the time, I was either throwing a 16 or 17. Never really more. So that was over 3 years. And if I took what I do with Dr. B in a year, with Dr. Bunderchuk, in 1 year, I took 15,000 throws. And this is a very low estimate for the special strength. I just said, let's say special strength, I took 15,000 throws. Okay, so over a time frame of 3 years, I took 90,000 throws compared to 4,500 throws. And that is the exact same time frame. But when I train with Dr. B, and now in my own training system at Garage Strength, we take a lot of throws, we do a lot of special strength stuff, and we do train general strength, but to a certain extent. So in a 3-year comparison with Dr. B, the athlete would learn at a rate 7 times faster than the athlete at Penn State. This is there's a different coach there now, and my coach was a good technical coach. It's just different training. So I'm just using Penn State as an example. This is nothing against the coach that is there now. I think he's awesome. This is just my example when I was there. It's a completely different regime, so let me get that out of the way. I should have just used the standard American system, but let's say, okay, so 4,500 throws in standard American system compared to 90,000 throws. And so it's a 7 times faster rate of learning for the athlete with Bunderchuk, or who would be in my training system, or whoever's training system that focuses on high volume throws, high volume special strength. So what does that do? That increases myelin production by 7 times. So the learning is more difficult, and they're taking more throws with various implements, so the learning is difficult with the throws. They create this myelin sheathing, and they increase their motor pattern production, or they practice that motor pattern from various ways that increases myelin, and they tend to throw farther. That's how you see somebody like Justin Rhodey, who threw 47 feet in high school, who threw 1807 in college, and then 4 years later, he's a 21-meter thrower. He took 7 times what the normal, typical person would take. So that myelin-based training is wonderful for anyone, but it's even better for athletes like Rhodey, who, he wasn't a physical freak, but he threw 47 feet in high school, and he was spinning. It wasn't that bad. He was an above-average athlete, but not a freak. He threw 1807 in college. That's a good throw, but it's not amazing. There's oodles of kids in the Division I level who throw further than 18 meters. but it enables someone who is an above average athlete and not an elite athlete to become an elite shot putter. So, what does this say? What do I think about this? I think that, you take guys from the 70s and 80s who are sauced out of their mind. They could train on the standard American system and throw 70 plus feet, but they were sauced to the gourd and they were really good athletes. Let's take those same types of guys like Ryan Whiting, who I think takes a decent amount of throws now, and he can push the world record at a clean slate, with a clean slate, without taking performance-enhancing drugs. Guys like Christian Cantwell and Whiting, who aren't abusing, and Nelson, and Hoffa, who aren't abusing drugs, with these types of myelin-based training systems, to throw and to pass the world record that was accomplished by someone who's on steroids, who's also the second best throw. Anybody up there, 23 meters, we were all on drugs. So this is amazing. We can sit here and we can learn from these research studies on myelin and apply it to the average kid. So now the average throws are going to be 18, 19 meters for the average person because they're using more efficient training. And the throws accomplished by the elite athletes could surpass the world record without actually being on performance-enhancing drugs. So, and that's amazing to me. I think that's awesome. And there's also myelin studies that they've seen guys who are people who are there studying that are eating more pasture-raised meats, like higher in omega-3s, or they're avoiding trans fats and hydrogenated oils, tend to have a higher gray matter in the brain and a higher myelin production, because there's less inflammation involved, so their body can react faster and recover faster from the myelin-specific training. So, take this for what it's worth. Go out, take a ton of throws with different implements. Buy the roadie throws glove to save your hands so you can take a ton of throws with different implements. Throw a heavy dumbbell, throw a light dumbbell, throw discus, standing throws. Take half turns after you're done throwing, after you lift, go out and take some half turns with a 20-pound shot if you're a high school kid. This will increase myelin production. You're going to learn at a more difficult pace, but you're going to learn faster, at 7 times the rate faster. So take advantage of what we have, take advantage of the science, and go throw far.